That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. You thought of that?
First blood.
Greetings. What is it now? What, mortal? What is it now? Very well. That was my plan. Very well. What, mortal? You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Death rages. Greed. Die. Very well. Death rages. I hunger. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Die. You thought of that? Your soul is mine. Agreed.
Đứng phải tuôn xa vào thì mấy cái ấy được. Kiến phải nên được level 2 cơ, có cái kiến con ấy nó mới nhiều đam, chứ tầm này không có đam đâu.
What mortal? Death rages. I hunger. That was my plan. Very well. I must hunt soon. Your soul is mine. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. Death rages. I must hunt soon. Very well. That was my plan. That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. Your soul is mine. You thought of that? Very well. Greetings. That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. I hunger. You thought of that? Death rages. That was my plan. You thought of that? What more? I hunger. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Death rages. Very well. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. I hunger. Agreed. Greetings. What is it now? I must hunt soon. You thought of that? That was my plan.
Our allies' town is up.
That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. What is it now?
I am vigilant.
Very well. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? What is it now?
Trust in my command.
Agreed. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Greetings. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Agreed. What is it now? You thought of that? Agreed. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. What more? I must hunt soon. Your soul is mine. Very well. What is it now?
Our allies'
I
town is
hunger.
up.
What more? I
allies' town needs help.
I hunger. Die. What is it now? I must hunt soon. Very well. Death rages. What more? Die. That was my plan. I hunger. You thought of that. What is it now? Die. That was my plan.
Our allies' town needs
I
help.
hunger. You thought of that? Die. I hunger.
We are poised to strike.
Die. I hunger. Die. Death rages. Die. You thought of that? That was my plan. Must hunt soon. I hunger. Die.
We must act.
That was my plan. Very well. That
Đai nó
was
cũng vào
my
đây
plan.
nhiều người lắm.
Must hunt soon.
Ông đi về ăn đai ông cầm cái tích vào chứ.
Very well. That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. That was my plan. What?
Xem này, bọc xem này.
You thought of that?
Chạy đi, chạy đi, chạy đi. Bọc xem.
That was my plan.
Đây không? Nhá tại mình tôi này.
That was my plan.
Nhá tại tôi.
That was my plan. I hunger.
Nó về ăn.
What more? That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? I must hunt soon. You thought of that?
Chết tóc là ngon.
Agreed. What is it now?
Trời ơi, sao thì
What mortal? That was my
tất nhiên rồi,
plan.
thầy tôi đằng này nó phải chạy về đằng kia chứ ai nào chạy ra mặt tôi này.
You thought of that? Very well. Die. Must hunt soon. What more? What is it now?
Phải chạy nấp nấp tí.
Ồ, đi đâu mà
What
xanh này có cả giày và
Greetings.
Trời ơi, đủ má cũng băng
Very well.
mặt là thôi đủ má.
Agreed. What mortal?
Đi kia mình ăn được.
Very well. Agreed.
một có sen là không nói được. Kệ.
That was my plan. Agreed. Very well.
Tôi vào con cộng.
I hunger. You thought of that? What is it now?
Ném nép vào ăn phở tách rồi hổ rồi.
That
Tôi
was
ra đi
my
thì nó
plan.
phở tách.
Agreed.
Và đánh bú đấy vào cùng.
Very well.
Là có gì ra đánh ôm mi này.
That was my plan. What mortal? Very well. Greetings. Agreed.
Từ lấy bần linh á.
Very well. Agreed.
Nhà võ một
You
hàng.
thought of that? Agreed.
Đây, cái này đồ này.
What mortal? You thought of that?
Giết đốt này.
Cho nó cái sen và nhưng mà
Greetings. Agreed. Very well. What is it now?
Our allies' town
That
needs help.
was my plan.
cái này là
You thought of that?
Cái cái công
What
ta
is
làm
it
ra.
now? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? What more? That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed.
Ai biết ở đây là ai biết.
my command.
Làm cái đầu là gì mà lính. Này tôi giết ra đâu nè.
Cái mana nó Omi đấy.
Tao đi. Tao.
We must act.
Một thế. Biết có một con nào.
Nó sẽ đeo.
Thought of that.
Omi đằng sau kìa, Omi đằng sau.
Dominating. Must hunt soon. Greetings. Must hunt soon. Greetings. Your soul is mine. Agreed. Must hunt soon. That was my plan. That was my plan. Thought of that. Agreed. Thought of that. Agreed.
Our allies' town needs help.
Không nhảy chỗ một hướng ra, cho chúng ta vào mò ra nó.
Agreed. What is it now? You thought of that.
Our allies'
What?
town needs
What?
help.
What is it now?
Hai tốt rồi.
Tôi đây.
Tao đang đến rồi.
Agreed.
Chưa 3 giây.
I hunger. Death rages. What? Mortal.
Chạy theo nó.
Sai đi, sai.
Greeting.
Sai chạy theo nó. Đừng đuổi đuổi tao đây.
Mortal. Very well. Agreed. Very well. Unstoppable ownage. Agreed. That was my plan. What is it now? Agreed.
Ra đi. Ra đi.
Our allies' town
I
needs
must
help.
hunt soon. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. You thought of that? Wicked sin. That was my plan. Very well. What? I hunger. That was my plan. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. What?
Thấy ở đây là Nevermor.
That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Greetings.
Mình đi vua cho nó kìa. Chưa thể nói rồi.
Plan. Very well. Agreed. I hunger. Agreed. I hunger. That was my plan. What? Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Greetings. Agreed. Very well. You thought of
Our
that?
allies' town needs
Very
help.
well. That was my plan. You thought
Cho
of
một cái
that?
thép ở nhà thì tôi cầm
Trust
rồi.
my
Có
command.
hỏi thép
That
rồi.
was my plan. You thought of that? Greetings. Very well. That was my plan.
Mang thép rồi.
What? You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. You thought of that? That was my plan. Very
Đánh
well.
Nắm.
Greetings. That was my plan. Monster kill! Double kill! Triple kill! You thought of that? Agreed. You thought of that?
Nó đông mà.
Very well.
Vào vội quá.
Greetings.
I am vigilant.
Bút về chỗ mất bút được thằng kia mà chết hết đấy. Mà đánh thì phải đứng ngoài mình thì tu.
Greetings.
Vừa mới lên vào mới cộng công ty đấy, chứ này không cộng đâu.
Agreed. thought of that? Very well. That was my plan.
Hello.
What? I must hunt soon. What? Mortal. That was me. What is it now? Greetings. You thought of that? What? I must hunt soon. That was my plan. What? You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Die. Agreed. You thought of that? I hunger.
Nép đang đuổi đang đuổi.
What is it now?
Nát thôi là bị thằng
Our allies' town needs help.
Greetings. That was my
Từ
plan.
từ Nevermor.
Your soul is mine. That was my plan. What is it now? You thought of that? That was my plan. Agreed. Very well.
Nát đâu? Nát.
Must hunt soon.
Nát bắt chụp.
Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed.
kèn nhé.
You thought of that?
Hơi trô này.
Very well. Greed. What? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Greetings. What? Agreed. Very well.
Về mua
Must
4 cái
hunt
này này.
soon. You thought of that?
Bây giờ kiến tao bị thua bị đen.
Linh ơi, tôi có một link ở kia ông lên mẹ được rồi tí phu đi rồi tôi mua vua kèn đó. Ông mua đất một con vua.
What is it now? Death rages. What, mortal?
Không, tại vì tôi còn cầm theo.
Must hunt soon. Agreed. I hunger.
Cái tóc Invi này, tóc Invi này.
Cay nhé, cay nhé, cay
Of
nhé.
that.
Nó chê ở điện.
Greed.
Nó biết được nhạc.
What is it now? Agreed.
Để cho buồn một phát này. Một phát này, để vào đây.
Thôi, cầm đi, cầm đi.
What, mortal? Agreed. Must hunt
Đâu
soon.
không nên.
Very well. Death rages. What? That was my plan. I hunger.
Nó cắm cả tóc luôn.
Agreed. Very well. That was my plan. Greetings. Agreed.
Ô lắm. Đã lồn rồi thầm mất ạ.
Chạy, chạy.
What? That was my plan.
Kẹt một thằng này.
Mọi người ra đi, ra đi, ra đi, ra đi.
That was my plan. What is it now? What? That was my plan. What is it now? I must hunt soon.
Nó thêm mana đấy, nó thêm mana đấy, nó thêm mana đấy. 100 mana. Nó còn 80 mana.
Thought of that?
100 mana thì 9.
Triple kill!
nó đuổi vào cái này.
That was my plan.
Mày rất
Agreed.
nhớ tình là từng mẹ.
You thought of that? What is it now? Greetings. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Wretches. Very well. You thought of that? I must. That was my plan. That was
Our
my
allies'
plan.
town needs help.
What is it now?
Greetings, Miller.
What mortal? Agreed. That was my plan. Very well.
Đừng có vào, nó lốt thang nó vào đây mình còn tay.
Này, tôi
We must act.
I must hunt soon. What is it now? What mortal?
Our
Greeting.
allies' town needs
I
help.
hunger. Die. Agreed. You thought that. What is it now?
Our vigilance.
Very well. Agreed. I hunger. Die. I hunger. Very well. You thought of that. Greetings. That's my plan. Agreed. I must hunt soon. Very well. What, mortal? Must hunt soon.
Nó 4 thằng boss nó bắt
What is it now? That was my plan.
Cái nó là mấy kia đâu.
That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. That was my plan. Very well. You thought of that? Your soul is mine. What, mortal? Die. What is it now? Very well. Death rages. Agreed. That was my plan. Unstoppable. Double kill. Die.
em
Thought of that.
em
What, mortal? What is it now? Very well. That was my plan.
cú nét tôi tí đâu thì cay thật.
I must hunt soon.
nó có tung chúng con NA mà nhưng mà không có ai dồn mà.
Greetings. What is it now? I must hunt soon.
Rất là vui á.
Greetings. I hunger.
Mỗi tấn một mạnh nữa.
What is it now? Greetings. You thought of that? Very well. Agreed.
Đừng có lấy con nét con gì mà bút.
Welcome to our
What is it now? Agreed. Very well.
Em mà vẫn tập tay.
That was my plan. You thought of that? Very well. You thought of that?
We are
Must
poised
hunt
to strike.
soon. Very well.
We must
What
act.
is it now? Greetings. What is it now? Must hunt soon. That was my plan. Agreed.
Trust in my
What is it now? I must hunt soon. Greetings. Very well. What is it now? I must hunt soon. Agreed. Death rages. I hunger. Die.
Có thóc ở đây.
That was my plan. Greetings. Agreed. That was... You thought of that? That was my plan.
I wish only
I
to
must
serve.
hunt soon. Greetings. What, mortal? I must hunt soon. What, mortal?
Em
What is it now? Agreed.
3-1-3
I must.
sao trước là sau
What is it now? Thought of that? Very well.
để biết đi
I am vigilant.
Greetings. I hunger. Must hunt soon. Greetings. What is it now? Greetings.
thấy biết đâu.
What?
Our allies' town needs help.
Death rages. Very well. Greetings. That was my plan. Agreed. You thought of that? Very well. Must hunt soon.
Omi.
That was my
We are
plan.
poised to strike.
What is it now?
Our allies' town needs
that.
help.
game đấy
Agreed. Your soul is mine. Unstoppable. Very well. Agreed. That was my plan. Very well. Death rages. I must hunt soon.
Nó giặt cá hơi sạc pin thôi.
Trust in
What
my
is it
command.
now? You thought of that? Very well. Agreed. I hunger. Die. Death rages. I hunger. I must hunt soon. What is it now? What, mortal? Greetings. You thought of that? I must hunt soon. Die.
We are poised to strike.
What is it now? Very well. That was my plan. What? I hunger.
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
Rồi.
Triple kill. Ultra kill. What is it now?
Our warriors have engaged the enemy.
What is it now? What mortal? Death rages. That was my plan. You thought of that? Agreed. Very well. Agreed. Greetings. I hunger. Die. What is it now? I hunger. Death rages. What is it now? Thought of that?
ra gì nè
What is it now? That was my plan. Very well. Your soul is mine. That was my plan. Very well. Thought of that. Agreed. You thought of that. Very well.
rồi
I must hunt soon. Agreed.
Wait till you see me in
Hello.
action.
What is your wish? What is it now? What, mortal? What is it now? That was my plan. Greetings. What, mortal?
ép rồi
You thought of that? That was my plan.
Sao được mua game nha.
Very well. You thought of that? Very
Không có
well.
ở nhà thì đâu chi.
You thought of that? Greetings. I hunger.
Có lần chuyến lên dây phây à?
What is it now? Very well.
Gì?
What is that? Very well. That was my plan. Death rages. Very well. Agreed. What? Holy shit.
Our allies' town needs help.
Gồm găm ta, phải nói gồm găm.
We must act.
Những đây rồi, mua rồi.
We are poised
Găm
to
phải nói
strike.
chết. Mình chơi không có gồm găm.
Mét cầm game à? Không có nào.
Trust in my command.
Mét ngay từ bờ DS này nè. Nhưng thằng nào vứt cái cành cây ra nhặt rồi.
Bên đi, bên đi.
Thằng nào còn sống mà vứt cành cây. Vua đi tự game rồi. Minh.
Tôi tập cái tiếp.
We must act. We are poised to strike.
Tay.
Mai đâu?
The night beckons. Greetings. What is it now? What is it now?
Né đi cứ đánh cho nó ra.
Our allies' town needs help.
What, mortal?
Không có ra.
Greetings.
Găm đâu.
I must hunt soon. What, mortal? I hunger. Death rages. I must hunt soon.
Bóng ở
Our
nhà, đánh bóng
allies'
này.
town needs help.
That was my plan. Thought of that? Very well. Agreed. You thought of that? Your soul is mine. Rages. Death rages. That was my plan. Killing spree.
Cầm 2 game rồi này. Khổ.
That was my plan. What is it now? Very well. I must hunt soon. Agreed. Death rages.
Tôi thu 2 game của nó về nha, đông linh nha.
What mortal? What is it now? What mortal? I must hunt soon. Very well. What is it now? Greetings. You thought of that? What is it now? That was my plan. Very well. Agreed. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? Agreed. That was my plan. Greetings. Very well. That was my plan. Must hunt soon. What? I hunger. Very well. You thought of that? I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Agreed. Death rages. I hunger.
phe đi.
Có rồi.
Vào thì mình ít.
The night beckons. Greetings.
Cân boss là có cân một con. Mà biết
What is it now? Greetings.
Móc theo đi nhé.
What?
cô đó là
That was my plan.
Nhầm đấy.
What is it now? You thought of that? Very well.
nét nó vào đây.
That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. What, mortal?
Nó thờ mốc thằng nét đi sau cùng đi vì gặp nó luôn ở đấy.
What is it now? That was my plan.
Cách thằng nào đi tiếp.
Greetings. You thought of that? Death vanishes. What is it now? Greed. I hunger. Die. I must hunt soon. That was my plan. Greetings. What is it now? Very well. That was my plan. Agreed. Greetings. Very well. Death rages. Agreed. That was my plan. You thought of that? What?
Có đi em phải.
That was my plan. Very well. That was my plan. I must hunt soon. You thought of that? What is it now?
Cái này nãy có quát không vậy?
Very well.
Chắc coi coi có.
I must hunt soon. You thought of that? That was my plan. What is it now?
Từ rừng nó về.
What? Mortal. Very well. You thought of that?
Nét vào một cái
That was my plan.
nó phải.
I must hunt soon.
Ok.
What is it now?
Nó có cái
Cóc bật cho BB kìa, cóc bật cho tiếng đấy, tiếng đấy.
That was my plan.
Nào đừng yếu đấy.
Our allies' town needs help.
That was my plan. Your soul is mine. You thought of that? Very well. That was my
Our
plan.
allies' town needs help.
Very well. What? That was my plan. You thought of that? That was my plan. What is it now? Greetings.
Bóng này cũng nghĩ là như thế.
You thought of that? Very well. I hunger. Die. You thought of that? That was my plan. I
kiến
must
nhìn mỏng
hunt
cơm
soon.
nhà đi chợ. Nó nhìn mốt máu.
Greetings.
Nó có game này kiến ơi.
Cái này.
Agreed. What is it now?
Mà nó phải.
Ok đi.
You thought of that? What, mortal? Must hunt soon. Agreed. What, mortal?
My life for
You
Nezu.
thought of that? Greetings. What is it now? What, mortal? Very well.
đun tiếp.
What mortal? You thought
Tôi
of
lý không nó bên nó bên.
greetings. That was my plan. You thought of that? Death rages. I hunger. Your soul is mine. What is it now? Death rages.
Vô chun đó.
That was my plan. Agreed. Die. Very well. That was my
Bên góc
plan.
bên góc.
Game cóc game.
What
Game có lại game có tên em.
I must hunt soon. Greetings. I must hunt soon. Double kill. What mortal? I must hunt soon.
Đâu, ở đâu?
I hunger.
Ăn đai hết thành ra.
That was my plan.
Game đó.
Agreed. What is it now? What mortal? Greetings. Death rages. That was my plan. Very well. What is it now?
Bây giờ 3-4 cùng
You
game
thought
khác.
of that? I hunger. Greetings.
I wish only.
Must hunger soon. Greetings. Death rages. I hunger. What? That was my plan. Agreed. Thought of that. Dominating. I am
Our
ready.
warriors have
What is
engaged
it?
the enemy.